Take a look at what Prime Minister Golda Meir had to say about the Palestinians.
If Hussein hadn't gone to war in 67, when he shouldn't have, when Eshkol asked him not to go to war, the West Bank would have been in his hands. If Assad hadn't gone to war, the Golan Heights would have been in Syria. If Nasser hadn't gone to war in 67, the Sinai Desert and the Gaza Strip were in his hands. Where were the Palestinians then? And why do good people tell us, if you had only, some Israelis as well, if you had only gone back to the 67 borders after the war, then I always ask a foolish question, but I haven't heard one single wise answer. If the 67 borders are so holy, why was there a war in 67? All these territories were in the hands of Arab countries.
With all this talk about Palestine going on across the world since October 7th, it's important to put things into the proper perspective. Did you know that the word Palestine in Hebrew actually means invader? It comes from the root pei lamed shin polesh, which means an invader. The term was introduced into the Middle East in the year 136 CE when the Romans conquered the land of Israel and they renamed the land Syria, Palestina. Today, we begin the first night of the Hanukkah lights commemorating the miracle of the rededication of the temple in Jerusalem 2,200 years ago, even before the Romans entered the land of Israel, a full 300 years before the Romans, when the Greeks conquered or attempted to conquer the land of Israel. It was then that the Jewish people were able to drive out the Greek invaders and rededicate the second temple. Now, this is the second temple that was after the first temple that was built by King Solomon almost 2,800 years ago. It's important to understand that Jewish people are not occupying the land of the Palestinian people, but exactly the opposite is true. There is no such country. There has never been a country by the name of Palestine. Anybody that tells you that Jewish people are occupying the land of the Palestinians is talking Baba Mises. It's as ridiculous as saying that you are occupying your ancestral home, because the fact of the matter is that the Jewish people are the only people on earth that 3,000 years later, 4,000 years later, speak the same language as Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. We observe the same faith and worship the same God with the same customs, with the same names to our children, and even eating the same food. We are the only nation on earth that 4,000 years later is still celebrating the same culture in the same land, and yet they have the audacity to call us the occupiers. Happy Hanukkah, and as you kindle those lights tonight, share with your family, share with your friends that the Hanukkah lights celebrate 2,200 years of Jewish presence in the land of Israel. Hanukkah means to rededicate, to re-inaugurate. It's time for us to have a modern day Hanukkah today, to rededicate our connection to the land and make sure that we don't allow any nonsense, any propaganda to confuse any of us. God forbid. Chag Sameach and a happy Hanukkah.